and larger land trades that, like this one, involve thousands or even tens of thousands of acres of land.
The I-90 land exchange is one of many land exchanges that are attacking our national forest. It's this particular one was legislated by Slade-Gorin. Plum Creek was going through the initial public process of using the land exchange format, which is new, and there hasn't been enough research done on the impact of the process of land exchanges yet. This one was legislated because Plum Creek got impatient and went to Slade-Gorin and said, hey, public process takes too long. We can't deal with that.
What happened was it became too late to pass a standalone piece of legislation, a bill that everyone in Congress would vote on. And instead what they did was they wrote what's called a rider, which they attached to an appropriations bill. A rider is an amendment that goes on a spending bill, and it never gets debated, it never gets examined. It's just tacked onto a bill that has to pass. And that's what happened with this. The parties involved were Senator Gorton, Senator Murray, and the Sierra Club. Those were the people who put that rider together.
Randall, Washington is a great tiny rural town on the side of the Cowlitz River. If you're driving out from I-5 out to White Pass, you might not even notice Randall, but once you stop there, you realize it's one of the most beautiful places on earth. It's in between Mount Adams, Mount St. Helens, and Mount Rainier. Everything in town is right at the base of Watch Mountain. Everyone knows their neighbor, there's a library, local cafes, a school for all of the surrounding towns, and a local mill. Back in the 80s, probably every business in town had signs that said this business supported by timber and by timber dollars, and that's definitely true. The town is a logging town. At once was in its prime. There were a lot more people living there then, but because of the boom and bust nature of logging towns, there aren't as many people now, and they're trying to figure out where exactly the economy should go, since there isn't such a supply of timber left anymore. When the Plum Creek Timber Company worked to legislate the I-90 land exchange, they had no idea how much resistance they were going to find in Randall, Washington.
They're big name people. They will do anything for money. That's the bottom line of it. As far as any kind of pride, personal pride, they have none.
Plum Creek stinks. They ruin every area they go into. A gentleman came up from Oregon, and he told me that they can't understand why the state of Washington would even let Plum Creek into our area, because they've destroyed everything they've touched.
The bottom line is they're in this to make the quick dollar, and they don't care what they have to destroy.
Now, they have bought somebody besides Slade-Gorin off. Now, and I mean big money.
There's a lot of people in town that don't agree with this land trade. There's a lot of people that like this forest and don't want it traded. And there's a lot of safety issues to it too that a lot of people down here don't understand. And Plum Creek don't care one way or the other. And the people down here know that. They've experienced Plum Creek's attitude, and there's been homes that's been slid over from their cuts.
When Plum Creek logged that, the first slide started right up here in that canyon. The first one's off to the left. And they can go into a place like that and log. Where are they going to stop them at? That started sliding from all sides and come right down into that V in there. All that stuff piled up in there, and it just made a dam. Just like putting a cork in a jug. It built up and got enough pressure behind it, water behind it after it rains, and then out she comes. Now that's what happened. Now if they're not liable for that, then what are they going to be liable for?
The first home I owned in Randall was completely destroyed. I had sold it a few months before, but logs came down a creek that ran behind the house and jammed up and did a right angle and pile drive the home and leveled it. And I thought, man, if they clear cut that whole mountain, the whole town's going to be subject to the same kind of a situation.
I feel as if it is unfair for any company to just be able to rule us and tell us, ram it down our throat, of whether we want it logged or we don't want it logged, and have no say-so whatsoever about what they're going to do or when they're going to do it. One thing they still can't stop us from, and that's opening their mouth. Yet.
Welcome to Watch Mountain Tree Village. Occupation Day 5.
On July 11th, the Cascadians came to Watch Mountain and tried to find a place to put up a tree sit. And this site was chosen because some of the most beautiful trees, western hemlocks and cedars and Douglas fir, are in this area, and some of them probably as much as 800 years old. And tree sits began to be erected. People began to climb these giant trees and to erect 4-foot by 6-foot platforms like the one we're sitting on right here. An old real estate sign that's been converted into a home for one, and in some cases 2 people. These tree sits are about 160 feet from the forest floor, and you get to them by climbing up and down these ropes.
So we're setting up a tree village up here at Watch Mountain, and this is the first tree village, I believe, that's been in Washington State.
I'm here because I don't think old growth should be cut at all, and particularly this piece, because this was traded away, and it's nobody's place to be trading away old growth forest.
Plum Creek exports more than half of the timber it cuts as raw, unprocessed logs to Asia. And what they want to do is subcontract in with some fallers who aren't even from within this county to come in and clear cut this area over a 5-year period, 1,000 acres. And then they'll probably try to trade it back to the government for more land.
The sad story behind this land exchange is that an outside company, a big corporation, big timber company, is getting ancient forest on steep slopes above the town of Randall. And I've seen time and time again where the big company comes in and they clear cut, they strip the ground all the way down to the earth. They take away all the trees, and then they leave town. They don't hire local. They don't stick around to see the damage they've done. They leave, and the rains are going to come this winter or next winter when they get the cutout. And Miller Creek, which is the creek that runs from the top of Watch Mountain all the way down through the town, it passes the church, the local bar, goes right into the grocery store, all that will be impacted by landslides.